Picture this. It's a hectic month. It's the week before payday. You don't have enough money to pour petrol in your car to go to work, and you can't work from home because load shedding striking at 10 a.m. What if I told you there's a solution that increases your time efficiency, decreases carbon emissions, while increasing your wealth through transport and energy savings? Now, this led to Realeboga and I conducting an investigation into the electricity usage of work from home residents in EDGE-certified estates based right here in Gauteng.
So to conduct this investigation, we came up with a research aim, which was trying to understand what the impact of working from home has on the electricity usage of EDGE-certified estates. And we focused on these five main topics, the first being working from home. And we found that there's actually a trend that has been rising, working from home. And this has been due to the rapid infusion of technology, as well as the aftermath of the lockdown restrictions that were implemented during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we also found that there's actually a strong correlation between working from home and the increase in energy consumption. So we decided to look at green buildings as well, and we found that green buildings are more energy efficient than conventional structures. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with the EDGE certification rating tool, it's basically a tool that assesses the environmental performance of a residential building, and it aims at increasing energy and water efficiency as well as embodied materials. So we also looked at our travel costs, and we wanted to just, I guess, get a bit of an understanding of how much people are spending on transport costs, traveling to and from work each and every single day, and if there are monetary savings that can be gained when one works from home.
So, in doing our research, what we found is there's no one who's conducted a study on specifically working from home, specifically in EDGE certified estates. So, we did it ourselves. And the research case study in question is located in the eastern suburbs of Pretoria, consisting of 646 units of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, and has an EDGE certification of level 3, meaning that it's zero carbon. Now, the data we collected was half-hourly consumption for both winter as well as summer. We decided to split the the households into four unique work-from-home categories. The four work-from-home categories are as follows. The first category is the normal worker, which works from home only 0 to 1 days per week from home. Then the light work from home category, which is 1 to 2 days per week from home. The medium work from home category, which is 2 to 3 days per week from home. And the high work from home category, which is a minimum of 3 days per week from home. So before we go in, it's important to look at our scope and our limitations. Our first limitation is our sample size. So our development was still undergoing construction between last year winter and this year summer, meaning that our sample size differed slightly between winter and summer. The next limitation was that we could not conduct any interviews on the households in question, so we had to make some assumptions. The next limitation was that it is a single case study, so we do understand that there is the issue of applicability. And the last limitation is that our typology is constricted to apartments only. Now, this brings me to the assumptions that we had to make. Now, the first assumption is to determine a household was working from home, their peak occurred between 10 and 12, which was supported by literature. The second assumption was that the green savings were 20%, which are the minimum requirements for EDGE certification. The next assumption was that we assumed each household has only one vehicle, as it was easier to calculate savings because it's two variable calculating each household. And the last assumption was that the households within the development work in the most common business nodes.
So to do this investigation, we came up with four research objectives. Our first being just trying to get a bit of an understanding of how exactly does working from home impact electricity usage in EDGE-certified estates. So we decided to take a look at their daily energy consumption in watts, and we were quite surprised to find that there's actually a negative relationship between working from home and the amount of energy that one consumes, as seen by the average daily consumption. Sorry, this pointer is not reflecting, but it looks like the more that a person works from home, the less energy they tend to consume. But it's also important to look at the standard deviation in our range, in that for the work from home categories, the standard deviation is much higher than the normal work from home categories, which is, quite expected, because as a normal worker, you will have a much more of a consistent routine in how you consume your energy, in comparison to someone who works from home, who's actually, has like different, the data is quite variable.
So then, Ria, I mean, logic would dictate that, if I'm working from home, my consumption should be higher because I'm there. So why would it be decreasing?
That's a good question, Chippy. You actually have to also maybe try and see it this way. When you're working from home, you're able to be at home the whole day. So you actually have access to those benefits that you get from like living in an EDGE-certified estate, such as solar power, as well as other green building features and initiatives, versus someone who works from the office and is not home all day long to actually realize those benefits.
Okay. So our next objective was to determine the change in magnitude of demand for energy across different time periods. Now, we did this by looking at household utility usage patterns, particularly pertaining to average morning distributions. Now, we did this for winter as well as for summer, and what we see is quite consistent is the time in which, behavior occurs. Sorry, the pointer isn't working, but with the normal worker category begins showing activity between 4:30 and 5 in the morning and peaks around 7 for both seasons, whereas the higher work from home category, which is highlighted in yellow, begins showing activity between 6:30 and 7 and peaks around 11:30. Now, the most notable difference is that in winter, the highest peak is the high work from home category, whereas in summer, the highest peak is the normal worker, which kind of makes sense if you think about it, because in winter, they're at home, they have to use their heater, probably drinking more coffee, trying to keep warm, whereas in summer, it's just a matter of opening up the window.
So the next objective we had was just to determine the savings associated with living in these certified estates as well as working from home. Go to the next slide. And we found that there are actually two main savings that can be realized. The first being transport savings. And to calculate our transport savings, we looked at the average distance that they live from the case residential study to the different business nodes in around Joburg and Pretoria, indicated by that red region over there. And we use this distance to determine how much these residents are spending on fuel when they commute to and from work every day. And we realize that when you work from home, minimum 3 to 5 days a week, these are the annual savings that one can save from not commuting to and from work every day. And then we saw that there's also electricity savings that can be realized. And these come from working from home, as I indicated in the previous slide, as well as living in an EDGE-certified estate. And together, the electricity savings and the transport savings give us a total savings, which ranges from 10,000 to 11,700 per annum. And we use these total savings to kind of analyze how this can aid in wealth creation.
So we all know that.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the man that has to go to the office to and from every day and spend an arm and a leg on electricity, on transport savings? I mean, we all live in South Africa. We know that the cost of living is quite high. Or do you want to be that worker who works from home and is able to save money on transport, save money on electricity, and be able to realize all these like savings to be able to spend money on whatever they wish to?
So we all know that EDGE certification comes at a cost otherwise known as the green premium. Now, what we wanted to see is if the total savings that Realeboga mentioned how long it would take for them to offset the initial green premium. Now, firstly, I want to mention that we do know that EDGE has an app which looks at the payback period, and EDGE takes into account energy, water, as well as embodied carbon. Now, for our research, we wanted to just look at how energy pays back the green premium. And what we see is that for the 1-bedroom units, it takes about 4 years. And for the 2 and the 3-bedroom units, it's about 4 years and 5 months.
So to conclude everything and summarize it all up, I bring you back to our research aim, which was to just understand the impact that working from home has on electricity usage within EDGE-certified estates.
So we've analyzed a lot of data, we've ran quite a few tests, and this brings us to a single point. A single point Ria and I like to call the work from home compound factor. Now, this work from home compound factor is the savings of EDGE certification compounded onto the savings of working from home. And what we see by the table presented next to me is that the more you work from home, the higher your savings will be, with the exception of light work from home. My advice, don't take the 1 to 2 days. What we see is that the high work from home savings go up to about 31.4%. Now, what's important to note about the high work from home is that the minimum requirement is working from home only 3 days per week, which means you can work from home more and see your savings increase exponentially.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the choice is yours. Do you want to work for your home or let your home work for you? Thank you.